Most people think weakness is an emotion. It isn't. Weakness is a habit you repeat until it becomes your identity. And once it becomes identity, people can predict you. When people can predict you, they can control you. That is why your mind feels tired, reactive, and easily shaken. Not because life is hard, because you have been running the same losing patterns in your head for years. Every insult pulls you. Every delay angers you. Every rejection makes you explain yourself. Every small win makes you arrogant. Every small loss makes you collapse. That is not personality. That is training. And you were trained by comfort, by approval, and by fear of being disliked. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to accept. The world rewards the person who looks stable, not the person who feels sincere. People follow certainty. People exploit hesitation. If you erase weakness from your mind, you don't become cruel. You become difficult to move. You become expensive to provoke. You become hard to manipulate. Right now, somewhere in your life, someone is measuring you. They are watching how quickly you respond. They are watching how much you try to explain. They don't need your secrets. They only need your patterns. Because patterns are access. If you react the same way every time, you become a handle. This is how you get baited into arguments you never needed. This is how you volunteer your dignity for a chance to be understood. Real is not the same as powerful. Power is choosing what people get to see. Power is deciding what deserves your energy. Most people leak their inner state through their face and their words. They show fear. They show need. And need makes you negotiable. When you are negotiable, your boundaries become suggestions. Respect is not requested. Respect is engineered. It starts with emotional discipline. It continues with controlled speech. And it finishes with consistent consequences. These habits are ruthless because they remove your excuses. Your mind is weak because you let the wrong things touch it. Attention is touch. Approval is touch. Drama is touch. In this video, you will build insulation. So when people test you, they hit nothing. And when they realize you cannot be moved, the game changes. So when life pushes, you don't spill. Because the person who controls himself controls the room. No excuses. No negotiation. This video is not motivation. It is a blueprint. 7 ruthless habits that remove the soft spots others press to make you fold. Habits of silence, timing, discipline, and control. Use them for protection, not destruction. Because the same tools that defend you can also corrupt you. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unreadable. Let me see who's really ready for this. Let's begin. Number 1, kill the reaction. Your power is rarely stolen. It is surrendered in moments of emotion. The moment you react without control, you give someone access. Access is the first step to leverage. Leverage is how people move you without touching you. Most provocations are not about truth. They are about testing your nervous system. They are watching for speed. They are watching for tone. They are watching for cracks. If your reaction is fast, it is weak. If it is loud, it is insecure. If it is defensive, it is predictable. Predictable people are easy to control. Every time you spike, you reveal a pattern. Every pattern becomes a handle. And once someone finds the handle, they keep pulling it. You think you are standing up for yourself. They see that you can be steered. Reaction is not strength. It is exposure. Exposure lowers status in real time. Watch what happens when someone questions you publicly. Your pulse changes. Your breathing shifts. Your words rush forward. You start explaining more than necessary. You add details that were never requested. You try to repair perception instantly. In that moment, you are no longer in control. You are managing fear. Fear always leaks through language. The room can feel it. And once the room feels it, authority fades. Machiavelli understood this clearly. The one who controls himself controls the room. Control does not mean silence forever. Control means delay. Delay creates space. Space restores position. When someone provokes you, do not respond immediately. Pause. Breathe once. Hold eye contact. Let the tension sit. Tension without reaction shifts power. It forces the other person to question their move. Most people cannot handle silence. They rush to fill it. They overtalk. They reveal intention. They expose insecurity. While they speak, you regain composure. Composure is insulation. Insulated minds are difficult to penetrate. Your first reaction is emotional. Your second response can be strategic. Never give them the first. Give them the second. Answer with one clean sentence. No defense. No extra emotion. No performance. Then stop. Stopping is discipline. Stopping is authority. When you keep talking, you shrink. When you stop, you expand. People test again when they sense weakness. If they push a second time, repeat the process. Pause. Breathe. Short answer. Stop. Repetition builds perception. Perception builds authority. Authority reduces future attacks. Soon they understand something. You are not easy to move. You do not chase validation. You do not leak emotion. You do not panic under pressure. That realization changes behavior around you. People adjust to what they cannot manipulate. They become careful. They become measured. They respect distance. All of it starts with reaction control. You are not suppressing emotion. You are mastering timing. Timing decides dominance. Whoever controls the pace controls the frame. When you refuse to perform, you remove their script. They expected noise. You gave them stillness. They expected defense. You gave them brevity. They expected emotion. You gave them composure. That contrast is power. It signals internal discipline. It signals emotional insulation. It signals that access is restricted, and restricted access creates value. This is for protection, not destruction. You are not learning to intimidate. You are learning to stabilize. A stable presence is intimidating by default. The moment you stop reacting, people lose leverage. The moment you stop explaining, perception shifts. The moment you slow down, the room slows with you. Weakness survives through impulsive response. Strength survives through controlled delay. Kill the reaction, and you erase the handle. Erase the handle, and no one can steer you. Silence under pressure is leverage. Number 2, starve the need. Neediness is louder than arrogance. It echoes even when you whisper. You think you are being polite. They feel that you are asking to be chosen. Need is not visible in words alone. It leaks through tone. It leaks through timing. It leaks through how quickly you respond. It leaks through how much you explain. When you crave approval, you shrink your position. When you crave replies, you surrender pace. When you crave closure, you chase clarity from people who owe you none. When you crave to be seen as good, you become negotiable. Negotiable people get discounted. They get delayed. They get tested. They get offered less. Neediness is the loudest weakness in the room, even when you dress it as kindness, even when you call it loyalty, even when you tell yourself you are just being understanding. Understanding without standards becomes permission. Permission invites exploitation. Look at your patterns. You send the extra message. You double text when silence appears. You soften your boundary with explanation. You add reasons so they do not misunderstand. You accept crumbs just to keep connection alive. You tolerate inconsistency so you are not alone. You tell yourself, patience is strength. But patience without leverage is submission. Every extra bid for attention lowers perceived value. Every unnecessary explanation signals fear of disapproval. Fear of disapproval makes you predictable. Predictability reduces authority. People measure you by how much you need them. The more you need, the less they invest. Scarcity creates gravity. Desperation repels it. Machiavelli would never argue for position. He would withdraw and let position speak. You do not demand respect, you structure it. Structure begins with standards. Standards decide who gets access. Access decides who gets closeness. Closeness is not automatic. It is earned through consistency. If someone delays you repeatedly, notice it. If someone disrespects your time, mark it. If someone only appears when convenient, register it. Need tells you to ignore these signs. Standards tell you to adjust distance. Most people fear distance. They think withdrawal means loss. In reality, withdrawal tests value. If you pull back and nothing changes, you are carrying the weight alone. If you pull back and they step forward, you are overextending. Overextension is silent begging. Begging destroys leverage. Remove the please energy from your life. Speak cleanly. State boundaries once. Do not decorate them. Do not soften them with long apologies. Do not over-justify your position. When you over-explain a boundary, you weaken it. Strong boundaries are brief. Brief signals certainty. Certainty commands respect. Make fewer bids for attention. Stop chasing outcomes. Let people reveal their level of investment. If someone wants access, they will act. If they do not act, they do not qualify. Qualification replaces need. You decide what behavior earns your time. You decide what behavior ends it. Consistency enforces it. You do not argue when someone crosses a line. You adjust access. You reduce responsiveness. You remove availability. You redirect attention elsewhere. Attention is currency. Currency should not be given freely. When you starve the need for approval, perception shifts. You become calmer. You become slower. You become selective. Selective people appear valuable. Valuable people are not rushed. They are not desperate. They are not eager to please. They are insulated. Insulation protects authority. This is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. When you stop chasing, the dynamic stabilizes. When you stop begging for clarity, confusion dissolves. When you stop asking to be chosen, you choose yourself. And self-selection is power. Need whispers insecurity. Standards broadcast control. You do not argue for respect. You withdraw attention and stay consistent. Starve the need and leverage returns to you. Approval is expensive when you no longer seek it. Number 3, speak less, land more. Words are currency. Weak men spend them to buy safety. They believe if they talk enough, they will feel secure. They believe if they explain enough, they will be understood. But over-talking is not strength. It is confession. It confesses insecurity. It confesses fear of being misread. It confesses need for approval. Every extra sentence gives information. Information creates access. Access creates leverage. When someone studies you, they listen for patterns. They listen for emotional spikes. They listen for contradictions. They listen for hesitation. The more you speak, the more they gather. You think you are clarifying. They are calculating. This is the trap. When you explain too much, you invite debate. When you defend too much, you look guilty. When you promise too much, you look unsure. Noise reduces authority. Precision builds it. Most confrontations are won by pace, not logic. Watch how opponents behave. They talk fast. They interrupt. They raise urgency. They flood the room with words. Speed creates pressure. Pressure triggers reaction. Reaction causes oversharing. Oversharing lowers position. The disciplined move is the opposite. Slow your cadence. Lower your tone. Shorten your sentences. End them cleanly, like a door closing. Do not stack explanations. Do not add emotional narration. Do not reveal your internal state. Calm brevity unsettles aggressive energy. When someone attacks with noise, answer with clarity. One sentence. No decoration, no apology, no extra emotion. Then stop. Stopping changes perception. It forces them to carry the weight of silence. Silence exposes insecurity. Insecurity makes them overextend. Overextension makes them careless. Careless people lose control. Ask fewer questions. Questions can signal doubt. Statements signal position. Make fewer promises. Promises create expectations. Expectations create pressure. Pressure invites manipulation. Never narrate your emotions in real time. Do not say you are upset. Do not say you are disappointed. State facts. State decisions. Leave feelings unspoken. Unspoken emotion protects leverage. Never reveal your next move early. Anticipation gives others time to counter. Mystery protects advantage. The less they know, the less they can prepare. Let your no be complete. Do not attach a story. Do not soften it with lengthy reasoning. A clean no establishes boundary. A long explanation weakens it. People respect finality. They test hesitation. If your refusal sounds negotiable, it will be negotiated. If it sounds firm, it will be accepted. This is not about silence as avoidance. It is about silence as structure. You are choosing which words earn space. You are choosing when to speak and when to close. When you speak less, each word lands heavier. Weight creates impact. Impact creates authority. Authority reduces future challenges. Soon the room adjusts. They stop interrupting. They stop over-talking you. They stop testing your frame. They sense discipline. Discipline commands distance. Distance commands respect. You do not need to dominate the conversation. You need to dominate your delivery. Short sentences, controlled pace, minimal exposure, precision over volume. Over-explaining leaks power. Restraint concentrates it. Speak less, and your words gain gravity. Gravity pulls attention without force. Land more by saying less. Number 4, own the pace. Timing decides power. Not volume, not emotion, not intelligence. Timing. Whoever controls timing controls the interaction. Because timing decides who is chasing. And the one who chases is already lower. Most people lose position through speed. They answer too quickly. They decide too quickly. They forgive too quickly. They explain too quickly. Speed looks efficient. But in power dynamics, speed often signals pressure. Pressure reveals need. Need destroys leverage. When someone pushes you for an instant answer, it is rarely neutral. It is a tactic. They create urgency so you abandon clarity. They rush you into a yes, you will regret, or a no, you will later soften. Either way, you lose control of the frame. Urgency is borrowed pressure. You did not create it. You do not have to accept it. When someone says, "I need an answer now," they are testing your pace. If you comply instantly, you confirm their dominance. If you panic, you expose your insecurity. If you stall awkwardly, you look unsure. There is another move. You refuse borrowed urgency. You pause. You look steady. You say, "I'll get back to you." Then you stop speaking. No apology, no over-explanation, no emotional shift, just calm delay. Delay is a weapon. Delay forces them to sit with uncertainty. Uncertainty exposes who needs control. The person who pushes hardest usually fears losing position. When you do not rush, their anxiety surfaces. They talk more. They pressure more. They reveal their stake. You remain still. Stillness creates imbalance. Imbalance shifts leverage. Most people fear silence after delay. They feel obligated to fill it. They soften their stance. They reduce their demand. They negotiate against themselves. All because you did not chase the clock. Owning the pace is not about stalling forever. It is about choosing your moment. Respond only after clarity. Clarity requires distance from pressure. Distance restores perspective. Perspective sharpens decisions. When you respond on your timeline, your words carry weight. When you respond on theirs, your words carry doubt. Practice strategic stillness. Do not rush to reply to messages. Do not rush to confirm plans. Do not rush to forgive disrespect. Do not rush to explain your thinking. Let time work for you. Time filters impulse. Time reveals intention. Time tests consistency. When you slow down, weak signals become obvious. Inconsistency becomes visible. Manipulation becomes transparent. Speed hides patterns. Pace exposes them. People accustomed to controlling tempo will resist at first. They will push. They will escalate tone. They will attempt to shame you for taking time. Do not react. Repeat calmly, "I'll get back to you," then actually do it on your timeline. Consistency builds perception. Perception builds authority. Authority reduces future pressure. Soon they adjust. They stop demanding instant answers. They start waiting. Waiting is submission in disguise. The one who waits is acknowledging your control of timing. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Meetings become calmer. Conversations become shorter. Requests become more respectful because they sense you are not rushed. Rushed people are predictable. Unrushed people are strategic. When you own the pace, you own the frame. You choose when the conversation moves forward. You choose when it ends. You choose when to engage and when to withdraw. Timing becomes insulation. Insulation protects authority. Never confuse urgency with importance. Important decisions survive delay. Manipulative ones collapse under it. Your job is not to satisfy impatience. Your job is to maintain position. Position requires composure. Composure requires space. Space is created by pace. The calmest person often controls the room, not by force, by timing. Own the pace, and others fall into your rhythm. Control the rhythm, and you control the outcome. Number 5, train discomfort. Comfort feels safe, but comfort makes you fragile. Fragile minds search for shortcuts. Fragile minds search for excuses. Fragile minds search for permission. The more you protect yourself from discomfort, the weaker your nervous system becomes. And weakness does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks polite. Sometimes it looks agreeable. Sometimes it looks like keeping peace. But most weakness is avoidance wearing a polite mask. You avoid hard conversations. You avoid saying no. You avoid being disliked. You avoid confrontation. Then you call it maturity. You call it patience. You call it understanding. In reality, you are training your mind to escape pressure. Every time you avoid tension, you reinforce fear. Fear compounds quietly. Soon your boundaries become suggestions. Soon your standards become flexible. Soon your voice becomes softer. And people notice. They sense that you will tolerate more than you should. Tolerance without limits becomes self-betrayal. Self-betrayal erodes authority. Authority is not built in comfort, it is built in friction. If your nervous system panics at resistance, you will always fold under pressure. Discomfort is the gym for your discipline. If you skip it, you stay weak. Look at your daily patterns. You hesitate before sending a difficult message. You rehearse arguments in your head, but never say them. You swallow opinions to avoid conflict. You accept behavior that violates your standards. You convince yourself it is not worth the trouble. But it is worth it, because each avoided moment compounds into resentment. Resentment grows silently. Then one day it explodes. Explosions are not strength. They are stored avoidance released. The disciplined path is different. You do one controlled hard thing daily. One refusal, one boundary, one uncomfortable truth. Nothing dramatic, nothing theatrical, just consistent friction. When someone crosses a line, you address it calmly. When someone expects compliance, you decline firmly. When someone assumes access, you reduce it quietly. Stay calm while doing it. This part is critical. Your nervous system must learn stability under tension. If your voice shakes, breathe. If your heart races, pause. Do not retreat. Do not overcompensate. Hold the discomfort without collapsing or exploding. That is the training. Over time, your baseline shifts. Situations that once triggered panic become manageable. Confrontation stops feeling like danger. Silence stops feeling like rejection. Disagreement stops feeling like loss. You begin to hold tension naturally, and people feel it. They sense firmness without volume. They sense boundaries without threat. They sense discipline without aggression. That changes behavior around you. Because easy targets disappear. When you are no longer easy, pressure reduces. You do not need to shout. You do not need to intimidate. Your stability speaks first. This is how identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids discomfort. You become someone who handles it. Handling discomfort builds internal insulation. Insulation protects composure. Composure protects position. Position protects leverage. The goal is not cruelty, it is resilience. Machiavelli understood that softness invites manipulation. Resilience prevents it. This is for protection, not destruction. Every small act of courage rewires your self-image. You begin to trust yourself more. Trust builds confidence. Confidence reduces reactivity. Reduced reactivity increases authority. Soon, hard conversations become routine. Saying no becomes clean. Being disliked stops threatening your identity. You no longer chase universal approval. You choose alignment over comfort. Comfort kept you small. Discomfort will make you stable. Stability under friction is rare. Rare qualities command respect. Train discomfort daily. Become the person who can hold tension without flinching. That is how weakness erodes. That is how power consolidates. Number 6, control access. Access is power, and most of your weakness comes from leaking it. You think you are being open. You think you are being authentic. You think transparency builds connection. But uncontrolled access builds vulnerability. Vulnerability without structure invites manipulation. Access is not just secrets. Access is your time. Access is your attention. Access is your responsiveness. Access is your personal details. Access is the right to your warmth. When someone has consistent access to these, they can measure you. They can predict you. They can label you. They can press your buttons with precision. Most manipulation begins with information gathering. It rarely starts with attack. It starts with friendliness. It starts with curiosity. It starts with harmless questions. Someone acts supportive. They listen carefully. They encourage you to open up. You feel understood. You feel safe, so you share more. You reveal frustrations. You reveal insecurities. You reveal ambitions. You reveal past wounds. In the moment, it feels like bonding. Later, it becomes leverage. Your frustrations become gossip. Your insecurities become subtle insults. Your ambitions become comparison. Your vulnerabilities become guilt traps. They remind you what you said. They frame it against you. They push you exactly where you are soft. This only works when access is uncontrolled. Oversharing is emotional generosity without filtration. Emotional availability without standards lowers your position. Not everyone deserves your internal world. Not everyone qualifies for your history. Not everyone earns your full personality. Levels must exist. There is a public version of you. There is a selective version of you. There is a private version of you. Promotion between levels should be slow. Demotion should be immediate when respect drops. Speed reveals need. Need weakens leverage. If someone disrespects you and you remain fully accessible, you reward the behavior. Closeness after disrespect signals tolerance. Tolerance invites repetition. Distance is consequence. Reduced access is correction. You do not need dramatic conflict. You need controlled withdrawal. Share less. Disclose later. Answer briefly. Do not volunteer extra details. Do not narrate your emotional state to everyone. Do not explain your entire strategy before you move. Mystery is insulation. Insulation protects composure. Composure protects authority. Silence is a filter. When you speak less, others speak more. When you react less, others reveal intention. When you disclose less, others speculate. Speculation exposes insecurity. Let people reveal themselves while you stay minimal. Watch how they behave when you do not overshare. If they lose interest, they were feeding on access. If they push harder, they were seeking leverage. If they adjust and respect your boundary, they qualify. Access must be earned through consistency. Consistency over time proves reliability. Reliability earns deeper access. Nobody earns your highest level quickly. Fast intimacy often hides fast manipulation. Time exposes intent. Time filters impulse. When access is structured, manipulation fails. There is nothing to grab, nothing to twist, nothing to weaponize. Controlled access stabilizes perception. Perception stabilizes respect. Respect stabilizes your position. You are not required to be fully available. You are required to be disciplined. Discipline limits exposure. Exposure creates weakness. Machiavelli understood that perception is engineered. Perception begins with what you reveal and when you reveal it. This is for protection, not destruction. You are not isolating yourself. You are organizing yourself. Organized access creates clarity. Clarity creates control. Control removes manipulation. When access is controlled, power stays with you. Number 7. Make consequences real. A boundary without consequence is theater. It sounds strong, it looks firm, but it changes nothing. People do not learn your limits by listening to you. They learn your limits by watching what you tolerate. If disrespect repeats, your boundary was never real. It was a performance. Warnings are noise, consequences are structure. Noise fades. Structure reshapes behavior. When someone crosses a line and you respond with a speech, you lower leverage. When you forgive instantly without adjustment, you teach them the cost is zero. Zero cost invites repetition. Repetition erodes respect. Respect does not collapse at once. It erodes through tolerated behavior. You tell them what you will not accept. They test it. You explain again. They test it harder. You become frustrated. They become comfortable. Comfort inside your boundary is your failure. You cannot demand respect while rewarding violation. That contradiction weakens authority. The difference between warning and consequence is simple. A warning speaks, a consequence acts. Action reorganizes perception. If someone repeats the same disrespect, your response must shift from words to structure. Choose one consequence. Distance, delay, removal of access, clean refusal. Apply it without emotion. No rage, no revenge, no dramatic exit, no pleading explanation, just execution. Execution is credibility. If you explain too much, it sounds negotiable. If you threaten but do not act, it sounds weak. The first time may feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is proof you are shifting identity. You are moving from agreeable to structured. Structured people are predictable in one way only. Same behavior, same cost, every time. Consistency builds perception. Perception builds respect. Respect reduces future violations. This is not cruelty. It is leadership over your own life. Leadership requires enforcement. Enforcement requires emotional control. When someone disrespects you and you calmly reduce access, the message lands. When someone pushes and you delay response, the message lands. When someone crosses a line and you refuse further engagement, the message lands. Silence after consequence carries more weight than lectures. Most people fear being seen as harsh, so they soften their enforcement. Soft enforcement invites hard disrespect. You do not need to intimidate. You need to be consistent. Consistency removes confusion. Confusion is what manipulators exploit. When your rules are clear and your costs are real, behavior adjusts. People adapt to structure. They test chaos. If someone leaves because you enforced a boundary, they were attached to access, not to you. If someone stays and adjusts, they value position. Either outcome clarifies your environment. Clarity strengthens authority. Authority stabilizes your mind. Weakness survives in vague boundaries. Power survives in enforced ones. This is the moment where identity locks. You either tolerate to avoid discomfort, or you enforce to protect position. There is no middle ground. This is the point of no return. Weakness does not disappear on its own. It survives because you protect it. You protect it every time you react without control. You protect it every time you give access without structure. You protect it every time you tolerate what you said you would not. Weakness survives because you keep feeding it energy. Every reaction strengthens it. Every over-explanation feeds it. Every unearned forgiveness stabilizes it. You think you are being patient. You are being permissive. You think you are being understanding. You are being predictable. Predictability is leverage in someone else's hands. The discomfort you feel right now is not danger. It is transition. It means your old patterns are losing authority. It means you are stepping out of approval and into discipline. Growth does not feel comfortable. It feels tight. It feels unfamiliar. It feels isolating at first. That tension is proof that something is changing. Once discipline becomes your baseline, you cannot unsee the game. You cannot pretend you do not recognize manipulation. You cannot go back to begging for validation. You cannot go back to explaining yourself endlessly. Awareness removes ignorance. Structure removes excuses. There is no comfortable middle after this point. You now face a clean choice. Comfort and approval, or control and respect. You do not get both. Comfort makes you agreeable. Control makes you stable. Approval feels warm. Respect feels solid. One fades with the mood. The other compounds with time. The powerful person is not loud. He is not dramatic. He is not constantly defending himself. He is the one who chooses himself without apology. He sets standards. He enforces boundaries. He does not chase validation. He does not negotiate his position. Today requires one move. One boundary is spoken clearly. One consequence was applied quietly. No speech, no anger, no revenge. Quiet enforcement shifts perception faster than an emotional argument. Perception shifts behavior. Behavior shifts reality. If this gave you clarity instead of comfort, recognize it. Clarity demands a response. Signals demand action. Like this video if you are serious about discipline. Share it with someone who needs structure, not sympathy. Subscribe if you are committed to control, timing, and authority. Do not treat this as entertainment. Treat it as an instruction. Comment this: I choose discipline. Then decide which habit exposed you the most. Now act on it. Go and prove it.